Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Trying something new today. I'm gonna try to commentate through the entire video. Hopefully that gives a sense of kind of how the ups and downs were, what was going on in my head, and kind of the changes in strategy as I played through the match. So this was a singles match for one of my USTA leagues, and right off the bat, I think I started off the match a little cold. I was coming off a back injury a few weeks ago, and my wrist was feeling a little weird. So definitely wanted to take it slow, make sure everything was properly warmed up. I think what I noticed was, I've been playing a lot more doubles recently, so I'm definitely a lot more comfortable coming up to net. I think some of it shows there's a few unforced errors you'll see where, maybe I could have been a little bit better, but definitely, a lot less afraid to come up on one of those short balls. Serving was was kind of all over the place during this first set at least, where, I think I was double faulting at least once per game. I started off this game with 2 double faults and I got broken back. My opponent, he was a pretty solid player. He was very comfortable hitting off both wings. I'll say his backhand was actually a little bit more reliable than his forehand. He was really good at kind of leaning in, driving the backhand. He had a few really good down the line, so like that shot right there. Down the line winners, as well as some cross court as well. So I guess in hindsight, I probably should have attacked the forehand a little bit. But, I probably wouldn't have reflected on that if I wasn't watching this video back. In the first set, I think because I was feeling pretty good in volleys and got a few free points up front, my goal was to, try to come up when I could. The strategy was pretty similar, right? Just hit it deep to the backhand, come up, split step it around cross court, and try to get the racket on the ball. So there you go, like right here. I'll say my opponent was also really good at lobbing over me. This was, I think, the second time I had a really good lob. I think when I had him on the stretch, I'll say maybe half the time he'll get the ball on the lob and, either it was an uncomfortable overhead or I'd try to run behind it and usually lose that point. Yeah, here's another example, right, where the lob comes over me. That wasn't overhead should have taken, but I just got nervous because it was on the backhand side. And then another unforced error at net, and it gives him triple break point. He did like to come up to net every once in a while as well, but I noticed that my cross-court backhand shots were working pretty well when he was coming up. You'll see it happens a few times, and get a few free winners off the backhand cross when he comes up. But I think he starts to realize by like mid-second set, and he starts to kind of cheat over a little bit to that side. Yeah, tons of unforced errors on my end, especially on the forehand. I'm just going for too much sometimes, right? Just not swinging the way I do, not leaning into the shot. Some of those forehands actually fly super long. There's one I think you'll see maybe in the beginning of the second set where it'll literally hit the Columbia banner in the back. So not too thrilled with how my forehands were for some of the match. Yeah, great point by him. Great touch, getting the ball back. Yeah, and then, here I think we somehow just messed up the score. I thought he actually won the set already. But, this is the second set now. And he took that first set 6-1. Second set, clearly the first set didn't work, and I remember very vividly in my head thinking, maybe let's calm down, don't come to net as much because I'm not really getting those points, and I'm okay just grinding out these long points, right? I think as long as I don't go for too much, like like that one, I could probably still play a pretty good match. Don't go for winners, just play safe, high percentage, play some smart tennis, and just see what happens. I also noticed that, after the first set, my opponent was getting a little bit more tired. So again, I thought if he was getting tired, I have no issue kind of grinding out these points and seeing where it takes us. Yeah, something else I was focusing on was making sure I was actually stepping in on the returns. There were some court that can serve, some big first serves too, but want to make sure that, see, I'm taking this ball pretty early, pretty far in the court, and just being really sure that when I split step on the serve return, I'm actually jumping into the court and continuing with that forward momentum. Yeah, able to get some pretty good first touches here, but I just wish I could put a little bit more pressure on those volleys. The second set, something else I noticed was, if he was getting tired, I did try to do a little drop shot lob combos. It worked out maybe about half the time, which is pretty good. And then, heroes, because good to finally win another game at least. Yeah, again, here at this point, it was don't go for too much, just play the game. And I went for too much, I guess. Yeah, I was also starting to take advantage of taking the short shot. So that's another example where, it's kind of a bad drop shot, but bringing it up, lobbing cross court gave me some space to play with. And then now, I'm feeling a little bit more confident. I came up again, lost a point, but, at least I'm up a break, which is completely different than the first set. At this point, I think my opponent was also, the fatigue was starting to build up on him as well. Definitely a lot more errors on the forehand side. And then same here, just come up, get a rack on the ball, look for the finish if the ball comes back. Yeah, great shot. That was the solid backhand. He was very comfortable just hitting it flat and deep, or just at least getting the ball in play, forced me to play that extra shot. Yeah, at this point, I remember it was just, I think we were both pretty gassed. It was, don't go for too much. I've made too many unforced errors. Keep the ball in play and, just grind it out. If he wants to grind this point, I'm okay with doing that too. In the second set, given all the double faults I had in the first, I decided to just go for those bigger first serves. My first serve percentage was a lot better, I would say. I don't think I got any first serves out of the first set, but yeah, that was a cross court again. But in the second set, I think I was getting maybe a little under half of the first serves in. Not the best percentage, but it feels good to be able to hit those big flat serves and have something to rely on at least. I think double faulting in general, still happened. It didn't completely disappear, but it was nice to be able to serve confidently this time. I think I also started to get more confidence back on my forehand. Instead of pushing the ball, I was a bit more okay with just going for the shots, trying to play smart. There definitely was a lot of opportunity. He was still pulling me up to the court. The turn was short. I'm in no man's land. I think my default now is to just get to net and try to see what happens. I'll admit, my opponent was a pretty generous line caller as well. I try to do the same, but there's definitely some opponents who I've played where, if the ball looks out, they'll call the out. But my opponent here was very generous with the line calls. Some of them might have even been a little wide or a little long, but he kept the ball playing. So definitely appreciate that. Yeah, I think I might have been 1 for 4, 1 for 5 on my down the line backhands this match. But yeah, you saw there, I got broken. Probably wasn't the cleanest game. I definitely went for a little bit too much, and again, unforced errors at this level is usually what makes the difference between winning and losing. Great point by him there. He covered that cross court backhand, which I got him with I think 2-3 times, and then he covered the back as well. Yeah, I think if you look at the approach shots, I would say maybe 90% where, hit it to the backhand, come up, split step, see what happens. here's another example of, I think, when things started to get a little tight. I think towards the latter half of the second set when I was like, oh, there's a chance of, me getting to that third set tiebreak. The nerves do come in a little bit, play a little tight. I think I was loosest in the beginning of the second set. And then as the score kind of worked in my favor, I started getting a little nervous myself as well. Yeah, that was I think my opponent was expecting the cross court forehand, which I've always been playing, and then I happened to get a winner there. But yeah, at this point, 4-1, feeling pretty good. Feeling, ready to serve big. Really happy with that serve, and as long as I kept the balls in, I was okay with, just playing aggressively, playing smart. That shot was just a little wide, but again, at least it felt good, right? The ball bounced off the racket. It felt like where it was supposed to be in. There was no complaints there. I think something I have to work on, though, as I'm looking at this, is I'm also hitting a lot of short balls. They're landing in the front half of the court, which, definitely players can kind of attack me and hit a deep shot, come up and finish me at net as well. So, something that I can work on as well. I think my shots are definitely, some of these are, it looks like I'm pushing the ball. And it definitely feels that way. So, gotta get shot a little bit deeper, hit more confidently, increase that racket hit speed a little bit, because some of those shots are just, I'm pushing the ball. So I can do better there as well. Yeah, good hands by him. That was I remember that point vividly where I got the back and I was like, oh, I can play this point. Then he hits it overhead where I split step the wrong way. So well played by him. Yeah, I think I remember this game went off for a while. It was deuce in my head. I kept on telling myself, one more point, 2 more points. See, that forehand, that forehand wasn't going to do it. Yeah, in my head, it was just one at a time, 2 at a time. Just get these points and take the set. Then worry about that third set tiebreak. Yeah, great cross-court cut. Yeah, overhead went long, but I think in general, I was pretty happy with the overheads I decided to hit. I definitely kind of chickened out of some, so the balls would go over me and I'd play a weak return. Yeah, not sure what that shot was. Lucky to get it right on that. But yeah, going back to the overheads, in general, pretty happy with the overhead performance when I did decide to hit them. Yep, so now we're in the third set tiebreak. We're playing a 10-point tiebreaker. So again, happy with that first point. Really good first serve to start the point. Deep shot. Happy with these, and we'll see how the 10 points go. Yeah, I remember that first lob could have definitely gone a little higher, a little deeper, but great hands by my opponent at the net. Yep, so managed to get a comfortable lead here at 1-4. Remember now it's just, hold on to the lead. Definitely play loose. That one, I remember that shot. It was a deep backhand. I should have approached all the way to net. I got caught in no man's land and actually backed up. And because my body was falling back, that shot went wide. Also, I'd say at this point, fatigue is definitely building on both players. So I figured, definitely pull them up to net a little bit. Drop shot, lob, that one worked out pretty well. I'll also say at this point, towards the later half of the match, definitely a little tired as well. But luckily, kind of, my past injuries were not really bugging me. My body felt pretty warm, where my wrist, my back, no issues there. So I was pretty happy with the way I moved. There was a few slides. That was a bad dropout decision. I remember I was getting a little tight. since he was catching up on points here. Got one a little long, but glad I got my racket on at least. Yeah, great change direction by my opponent, and yeah, here it's like it's pretty close. I'm definitely a little tight, but my motto here is I'm gonna live and die by the serve. I'm not gonna baby the serve, because in the first time when I did, it double faulted at a perfect point. So I'm just serve out well, and got to seal the match off with an ace. Yeah, it was great. It was a really fun match. First set was kind of all over the place, but I managed to get my head back in the game. I'm pretty happy with how I played in the second set and some of the third set tiebreak as well when I started to play loose. But yeah, let me know what you think of this format. Was it interesting? Was it annoying? I'd love to know. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.